Okay, so I should be starting any moment now. This is going to be different. Hopefully it goes smoothly. Playing a match against Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca. And I think he sent me a challenge. Let me check to see if he's ready. Just going to send a message real quick. Anyway, for anyone just joining, we're going to play a combination of Rapid, Blitz, and Bullet. More about the format soon. It's going to be 4 games of 10-minute chess, 8 games of 3+2, and 10 games of 1 minute. And looks like he's ready. So I should be live. If anyone's watching, let me know if you're in the chat. Belgium Novice, I saw a comment, but I just refreshed the chat. Okay, I'm going to accept. Please work. Did that work? I think that worked. I have a provisional rating on this site. Okay. The game has begun. We have it ready. I was not preparing this. I was expecting e4. But I saw he plays everything, so we'll see what he chooses. Catalan. Okay. I'm curious how much preparation he's done. I'm just going to play what I usually play. The so-called Ray Robson variation. Good sign that he's thinking, or he thought for a moment there. A3 is a good move. Now I have to remember what to play, because it's been a while. I know at some point I should play b5. But do I play b5 first, or do I castle first? I think maybe I castle first, play b5. If knight e5, knight d5. Unfortunately, I can't draw arrows, so people will have to know their coordinates. I could also play knight c6 first. Knight c6, b5. Kind of like this, so I'm not blundering, right? b5, knight g5, knight d5, knight e5, knight d5, e4, knight b6. If knight c3, I think I have queen b6. I know it looks weird, like this diagonal seems very suspicious, but I just want to play bishop b7 and neutralize everything. Knight a3 is also a move, but whenever the pawn's attacked, I just have queen b6. So b3, a thematic move. Material is equal, so we could trade. I could play bishop b7. I could play bishop b7 right away. It's a sub. I'm not going to be looking too much at the subs, but thanks for supporting. Takes. Yeah, I think I'll start with taking. I'm expecting queen takes, and then I'll play bishop b7. Then I just want some like normal development. Like knight c6 or knight bd7. Probably knight bd7 next. So I'm not blocking the bishop. My bishop will at some point go to d5, and my knight will come to b6. Maybe pawn will come to a6. The backward a pawn hopefully won't be too much of an issue. Can probably start with queen b6 here. At some point I would like to put a rook on c8, the only open file. Like the rooks belong on c8 and d8. So e3, supporting d4. Considering knight d5. I think I'll start with rook ac8. It's not really a critical moment. I don't want to be spending too much time early on. If white doubles up on the a file, I always have a6. Could throw in a6 right away to over-defend the pawn. Yeah, I just want to see what he does. Just trying to play like simple, quick moves. So, bishop trade, then a6 could be a weakness. I'd probably have to trade bishops. And then I could maybe play rook c6, rook fc8. The knight's probably going to come to b3 at some point. Could throw an e5 at some point. Maybe he takes an e5. It's interesting. d5. I don't want to allow d5. I'm going to take and play rook c6. Multi-purpose. I want to play rook fc8. I also want to defend the a-pawn. I'm just a little bit concerned about a knight coming to c4. He plays king g1. Seems a little bit slow, but logical. So I'll play rook c8. I mean, we could just trade off all the majors and draw, but I feel like this is going to be a fight. I think both of us have something to play for. So he wants to play knight b3, knight c5. I could play queen c7 and then do stuff. Queen c7 attacks the knight. Could consider e5, e5, d5. Doesn't look so preferable. So queen c7, what is he going to do? Knight e2, rook c2. We trade everything. He has to play rook d1 in the end. And that looks reasonable. There's not too many other options. I'm calculating knight d2, rook takes c1, knight d2, rook c2. And then takes. I'm skewering the knights, rook d1, I have an active rook. Maybe I could play rook b2 in the end. But he has queen b3. So things get a little bit weird. He also has, wait a minute. Rook c2 takes, rook c1 I takes, I have knight f8, thankfully. So let's go for this. If I didn't have knight f8, I'd be blundering, because rook c1 could be a problem. So I do have the chat open, but I'm not going to be looking at the chat much. But people can talk amongst themselves. Maybe I'll look at the chat between games, but okay, there's not much time to waste. So queen b3, that's a move. Yeah, that's a reasonable move. We could trade, like if we take on c1, queen b7. What else do I do? I could play knight d5 maybe, or even e5. So I don't know if white has immediate threat. e5 is interesting. Don't want to be spending so much time. Could play h5 or h6. Oh wait, he does have a threat of taking in rook c1. Okay, so I have to be careful. Could play knight b6 maybe. Wow, that doesn't seem right. There's no increment either, so I have to move somewhat quickly. So I think I'm just going to play simple. Queen b7. We're going to trade more. White might have a slight advantage with the structure, but it should be balanced. Get my knight to b6. Maybe get a knight to d5. Even if white plays queen b2, then still knight b6. And he has some squares, I have some squares. We both have some squares. Not the most exciting game so far. Both trying to play solid. It's going to be the first game of a long match. He is managing his time slightly better than me. Not sure what the knight's doing on c3. Queen is tied down to it unless he wants to play knight e4. I can invade. e4, wow. Feisty. Maybe queen c6. Apply a little bit of pressure. Trying to provoke like e5 and then I get the d5 square. I should throw in h6 or h5 at some point. Also considering knight a4 at some point. Try and trade knights, get an outside passer. And knight a4 is interesting. Really got to speed it up. I don't want to get too low on time. I was playing bullet earlier and I'm not too fast with the pre-moving. Knight a4 immediately, maybe h5 or h6 even. Play h6. Because king f1 is a sign. Okay, he's bringing the king to the center. Play this. It's a tricky move. It's imbalancing the position. He might have to take, because otherwise I'm taking or winning e4. I mean, he could play f3. Yeah, he might play f3 here. Wait, no, f3 just hangs a knight. What am I saying? So he can't. Maybe he'll take and play queen d3. Then I want to maneuver to b6 with the knight. I put the queen on b5 even. Down a minute on the clock, but don't mind my position. That's a move too. Forgot about that move. I feel like I should punish it somehow, but I don't see how. The e4 is defended, so my knight doesn't really do much on f6. I want to maneuver to b6, support a4, maybe target c4. Might be some tactical ideas of knight c5 someday, like e5, e5, d5, knight c5 ideas. Or even a5 takes and then knight c5. Even in endgame, knights can generate tactics. f3. I really want to play a5. That seems wrong. e5, also an interesting move. Doesn't seem to be working quite the way I want it to. To move quicker. Play knight b6. That was the original plan. Maybe knight c4? My knights are doing some work. He can't take, interestingly enough. I'm threatening knight b2 here. Knight a b2. Is that a threat actually? Feels like a threat. Like if he takes, I have knight b2 with a fork. The king is going to be a target on d3. It's just a matter of exploiting it. White's under pressure, but I'm under time pressure. Knight b2, king c2, where's the win? I could take, we trade. I actually don't see like a main threat. Plays knight c3. Well, now knight b2, he still has his king move. King c2, we trade. Yeah, I want to destroy, but I don't see the crushing blow. So let's move back. He still can't take on c4. I'll probably put the queen on d6, maybe generate some more ideas. Wow, knight b1. Okay, so now I have ideas of e5 or knight e5. If I want to improve, I might throw in g5. Is he going to play knight a3? No, knight a3. Okay, so I'm threatening to take on d2 maybe, win d4, if he plays knight a3. So queen c2, let's tickle the queen. Ah, but then he takes. No, he can't take. If he takes, I take back with pawn, and I win the queen. If queen moves, where's my tactic? Really, where's my tactic? Maybe e5? Knight e5. I'm calculating queen b3 and looking for tactics. Queen b3, yeah. I want to play a5. a5 takes, king takes. I move back, he moves forward, I move up. It's not what I wanted. Queen c3. I don't want to draw though. Maybe e5. Okay, I'm taking a risk playing e5. If d5, I then play knight a4. Because I want to get a5 in somehow. Whoa, it's unexpected. Takes. I think I'm winning the b pawn. Just take this. I'm up a pawn. I have two passers on the queen side. He has one check. I play king h7. So he does that. Still have to be careful. Maybe a5. Relatively defended. Knight d5, I can just take it. I want him to play e5 so I can take the knight and play knight d5. But it's going to be a time scramble. At least he's thinking I'm up on time finally. Like, I have a clear plan. a4, a3, a2 maybe. And queen. So knight a4 ideas. Okay, that's a move. I want to play knight a4, but then knight d5, I guess. Okay, let's play a4. g4, wow. Pawn is rolling. Let's take. It's an interesting idea. a2. So knight a4. I have queen f8 ideas too. Very dangerous to get below a minute. Okay, let's throw in this check. He has knight e7 ideas. A little bit concerning. Let's throw in another check and probably a2. Let's see how I'm getting mated. I can't queen immediately. If f4, I mate in 2. Oh, that's dangerous. Let's check. Oh, I need to sack the queen for the knight. Check. We might draw, actually. Yeah, I don't want to risk the time situation. So it ended in a draw. Wow. I don't know if I'm winning in the final position, because queen g8's a mate threat. Wow. So how do I accept another challenge? Oh, I accept, I guess. Good game. Let me change the score. 0.5 to 0.5. It's intense. Accept. Clicking accept. Okay, I'm white. Let's play d4. I'm going to play a London. I played him once before over the board in St. Louis. Wait, I have to remember move order. I think knight d2 first. I remember playing, yeah, we played one of the main lines. I played bishop b5. I think he played bishop e7 in this position. Yeah, he played bishop e7. So I did a little bit of preparation beforehand, and I was preparing this h3 move. In St. Louis, I think I played bishop d3. So queen b6, a4. Still prep. Prepared this a couple hours ago. I think h3 is a sideline within a sideline. The idea is I'm waiting for him to play a6, and then I'll take on c6. And then get the e5 square. And there's some lines where like b2 is poisonous. For example, okay, so he takes first. I think I should take with the c pawn. I guess I can't really give an example. This changes the position. But maybe even in this position. So I take, and then I castle. I think we still somehow transposed into prep. Thanks for the sub, Kabosi. Appreciate it. A5, normal looking move. Wants to play bishop a6. I think I'll probably play queen c2 and rook fc1. Now he might play c5 immediately. Then I have to figure out what to do. I mean, I could play rook fc1, and I'm getting major pieces to the c file before black. Not a bad thing. My b pawn's a little bit backwards. I have b3 or rook b1 if necessary. But he can't play rook b8 because my London bishop. So I think I have to take. I don't want to allow c4. And then I'll play rook ac1 or rook fc1. Or knight b3 even. Knight b3, knight d4, knight b5 is an idea. Bishop e5 also an idea. I'm going to start with this. See where the bishop wants to go. And then bishop e3, probably. So I have like queen c7 or bishop c7. There's moves here. Problem is rook c8 will come eventually. Could maybe play e4. I don't know if it makes sense to open the position. I have knight d4 ideas. Okay, I think I'll start with knight b3. I'm looking at bishop a6, queen c6. And then try and like double up on the c file. Like if we trade queens, I don't think I'm better here. If anything, black might have a slight edge at the bishop pair. Played the opening well. Knight e4. Slightly unexpected. Thinking about knight e5. Oh wait, the bishop's hit. So bishop, maybe bishop e5. Even bishop c7. Let's start with bishop e5. Again, he has about a minute edge on the clock. Similar to last game. But that's okay. Still have time. Another sub. Mind the Mink. Thanks for subbing. Trying to figure out bishop. Okay, so f6. f6 is interesting. I want to play bishop d4. Easy move. But then black has a looming idea of e5. So I have to be careful. I'm thinking about knight c5 next. Like regardless of where the queen moves, knight c5, we trade stuff. I lose b2 in the end though. But then I have rook b1 in the end. Some counterplay, knight d4 ideas. Yeah, let's go for it. I'm hitting the knight, so I think he has to take. I'm expecting him to take twice, and he might grab b2. Oh, but then I have rook c b1, and the queen would be trapped. Or would it? Queen e2. It looks very risky for black. It's a good situation, because I'm making him think. Maybe catch up on time. So takes. I should mention there's nothing on the line on this match. Like we just basically agreed on a format, but there's no money or prizes at stake. But I'm just still trying to take it seriously. Hence why I'm not really paying too much attention to the chat. So I'm up on time. I mean, is he considering moving the queen? Or maybe he's considering what to take with? I think the whole idea of knight e4 and f6 was a bit too slow. I think bishop a6 would have been better for black. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some analysis after the whole match is finished. Okay, so we're trading. Bishop d7. Oh wait, the rook's hit. So he has to move the rook or take the bishop. Rook f7's a move. Now I'm up a minute on the clock. I want to get the knight to d4 and b5. Potential outpost square. Okay, so bishop d7 looks playable. Queen e7 runs into rook f7. He wants to play rook c8 next. So what to do? Queen d6 maybe? Queen d6 is interesting. It's hard to remove the queen. And the bishop's tied down and the queen's tied down. Kind of like this move. And I'm threatening rook c7. I wish I could draw arrows. This is like an arrow-worthy position. Because the queen is tied down to the bishop's tied down to the pawn. I have a threat of rook c7. I have ideas of knight d4, hitting the pawn. Like e6 is a long-term weakness. The bishop might move, maybe. I mean, bishop e8 can't be played, though. You have to remember, the bishop's tied down to the pawn. So rook a6 is a move I forgot about. Can I play rook c7 still, and we trade queens? But then he has rook c8. I have queen c7 as well. Even queen e7, but then queen e7, rook f7, queen d8, and we repeat. What to do? Queen c7. Oh, then he plays rook b6. So maybe I'd play like queen, and queen f4 could be a move. Queen g3. Wait, rook c7, takes, rook c8. Like knight d4, ideas of knight b5. It's interesting. I might go for it. It does look risky. Could also take on b2. I have to calculate, man. 2. Okay, he can't. I don't think he can take on b2. I think I'm gonna go for this. The idea of knight d4, knight b5. It feels wrong. It could just be wrong. Okay, I have to go for it. Time was ticking. So there's a funny line, queen takes b2, queen takes d7, queen takes a1 check, king h2, I'm threatening mate. And the only way to stop it is f5, but then I have knight d4. So I think that refutes queen takes b2. Otherwise, I mean, I'm expecting rook takes d6, rook takes b7, and then rook c8, after which I'll play knight d4 with idea of knight b5. Also stopping rook c2. And time is equalizing. Gonna be another time scramble. So there's 2 more games of 10-minute chess after this. It's a lot of chess, already getting tired. And staying up on time is actually a very important factor. What else could he be thinking about? Like, I don't think anything else works. I think he has to take on d6. Yeah. Thanks for the sub, Daco. Okay, so going into this line, things are kind of tied down to each other. I want to play knight b5, and if we trade, the a file opens for my rook, and I get a passed b pawn. So e5 only helps me do that. Not sure how black untangles here. Maybe move the bishop. Bishop c6, I have rook b6, or rook a7 even to win the pawn. e5, okay. I mean, how does he defend in the end? He's going to play rook a8, but then I have rook c1 and I get pigs on the 7th. This should be completely winning. I gave a lecture about this. Type in pigs on the 7th into YouTube. Find my St. Louis Chess Club video. Like, the rook is coming here. Maybe he'll play f5, rook g6 and pray. But then I'll just start pushing my b pawn. Or he'll play d4 maybe. Wow. Please don't tell me this is going to be another draw. This might be another draw. Takes, rook here, d3 takes. I start checking. Maybe I come back in the end. I mean, I think I have to go for this. I have to start with taking, I think. Yeah, let's start with taking. Problem is he has like rook c8, rook c1 in the end. And if I get counterplay with my pawn, I mean, okay, I'm the only one playing for a win though. b6. I mean, king f1 maybe? King f1, d3, king e1, d2. Oh, that loses. Okay, so let's go for this. Take on g7. We'll see where he moves the king. So I have to calculate these lines where the rook comes back, and maybe my king comes to f1. Like, it might actually be okay. Like, maybe I check and then play rook c7. Problem is he attacks. Wait, I have rook d7 as well. Rook d7? Wait a minute, rook d7. Rook d7 might be winning. Rook d7. Plays rook d8, we trade everything, and then I have king f1. That's winning. I think this is winning. Oh, also I'm threatening mate after this. So rook d8, I just made him. This has to be winning. I'm up 2 pawns. Wait, I can't count. I'm up 3 pawns. No, I can't count. I'm up 2 pawns. I'm about to be up 3 pawns because I'll win d3. Guess I'll win b5. It's hard to count numbers that will continually change. No. Okay, so let's demonstrate some reasonable technique. Rook a3 maybe? I don't want to wind up passive. No, let's check and come behind. Oh, you want to be as active as possible. I'll play g3, h4. And just keep my time advantage. And slowly, steadily make progress. At least attempt to. Rook here. King here. Maybe just this. I keep pushing. When we trade pawns, just make it easy. Oh, I forgot about that move, but I have h7. Then I can check and come back. I hold on to the h-pawn. And I activate my king. Let's play king f3. And king g4 probably. f4. It feels like there should be some mate here. King h4. I don't want to stalemate. I want to play g4 and f5. If he takes, it should be winning somehow. f5, and then probably I come win the pawn. Like this move. There's no stalemate tricks. He would love to sack his rook, but I've learned too many lessons in the past. Okay, I won a game. So it is, I'll just update the score. 1.5 to 0.5. Move this over. Okay. And how do I accept another challenge? Cancel. I don't know how to challenge, so I'm waiting on a challenge. Okay, he sent a challenge. So let's accept. Okay, so we have 2 more games of 10 plus 0. And then we have Blitz. Good luck. Do I play? I don't even know. Wait, I'm white again? I should be black again, right? I'm so confused. Unless, oh, it's a random challenge. Accept. There we go. Okay. Good luck. E4. Okay, so he's playing something different than the first game. Let's play E6. Open Sicilian. Yeah, I was preparing this earlier. He's going to play bishop e2. But what was I preparing? I was preparing d6, I think. d6, and then we trade. I have to remember queen. I think bishop d7, and I have a novelty coming up. He has 1 game in the database with rook ad1. I was preparing queen b6. Hey, it's Bits. Thanks, you got Jess. I thought I turned the sound off for Bits, but I guess not. Yeah, so he played rook ad1 before, and this is where I play queen b6. Now he's in new territory. He played some player who played h5, and it was a long fight. Idea with queen b6, there's some pressure on f2. There's some interesting line, which I'm trying to remember. I think I castle here, and then I play rook g1, or rook g8. Do I castle? I think I castle. Because I remember the rook coming to f8. It's a very sharp position. Like, this will probably be this is the most interesting opening we've had so far. First 2 games were a little bit, I don't know, positional. This is opposite side castling. There's imbalances in the structure. Yeah, b3 is a fine move. I think bishop d4 is an idea to put the bishop on e5. I'll admit I didn't really prepare too much beyond this. I think I'll play bishop d4, because why not? I mean, he might play knight a4, we trade bishop e5. Let's do it. What just happened there? I didn't even scroll. Okay. Is that okay? Looks okay. I'm a little bit concerned about putting my bishop on e5, but maybe it's okay. Rook d3. Interesting. I want to play rook hg8. Yeah, let's play rook hg8. There's a few ideas. I might want to play rook g5 followed by rook dg8. Knight d1, wow. It's fancy. Wants to play c3, maybe eventually f4. Bishop e5 should probably hold off. I mean, rook g6 is a move. Rook g6 is very logical. Rook g5 also logical. I'll start with rook g6. I didn't play rook g5 because it might get hit with f4 later. Maybe at some point I want to just play f5 and sack a pawn. Or just open up my bishop. Both bishops. C3, okay, I pretty much have to do this. Now it's a question, is this bishop a strong piece or is it a target? Because f4 could very easily trap my bishop, but that pawn is currently pinned. Worst case scenario, I have f5. Create some retreating squares. We might trade queens here, actually. I have to trade queens, otherwise I run into f4. He's going to have knight c4, which is actually quite annoying. But what else do? I mean, I don't really have too many other options. There's some interesting idea to take. Play bishop b5, c4, bishop c6, f4, bishop b2, and then walk around. Let's do it. But I don't think my bishop's getting trapped. Also, I'll be attacking e4. I mean, I'm expecting knight takes. I mean, what else can you do? Rook takes is also, I guess, playable. Okay, he takes with knight. So if the pawn lands on c4, he doesn't have knight c4, and that opens up bishop b2. Now e4 is attacked. So if he plays f4, I could consider bishop takes e4, but I also just have the maneuver bishop b2 to a3 to c5. A little bit exotic. I think it's okay. d6 is a backwards pawn, kind of, but easy to defend. At some point, I mean, g2 could be a target, like rook d g8, bishop f4, f5. So he's going for this. So do I take on e4? I mean, if I take on e4, he takes, my rook's attacked. I have f5. Probably want to start with this, and he has bishop f3. First of all, my bishop's not getting trapped, I don't think, unless he has b4, but then I take. Okay, let's do this. Another sub from Quex. Thanks for subbing. Bishop a3. If f5, oh, that's okay. Now g2 is very well defended. Okay, so this bishop maneuver has happened. The bishop will come back to life once it lands on c5. He's going to put the king on e2. I should probably put the king on e7. And this could be a grind. I mean, white might have a slight edge, just more space. I mean, I do have the bishop pair. Could trade if I want. Does f5 make any sense? We trade. Or takes and then f5? Probably not. I also have a5. Maybe a5. Does he want to play e5? If he wants to play e5, maybe I should start with some rook move. I don't think that's a threat. Let's start with a5. If e5, I think we trade bishops. We could trade bishop for knight even. Have rook g8 at some point. So g3 is normal. Maybe rook a8. Preparing a4. He might play a4, then I play rook a6, rook b6. Bishop h5 could be kind of annoying, but then e4 is loose. I have rook h6 is interesting. h4, rook back, g4, and white wins connect 4. What if I do this and b4? Maybe b5? b5 is interesting. b5, we trade and I win a rook, or the exchange, and then he has e5 at some point. Wait, b5, b5, maybe e5? It's confusing. b5, e5, takes, take there, maybe take first. I really want to play b5, just not sure about e5. King takes. I could take twice, play king c6. Let's start with this. I don't want my time to be ticking for so long. b5 is still interesting. b5, e5, what is this? I take. Oh, I could just take on c4 first, but then he takes with check. Okay, he's gonna win connect 4. But he's kind of committing his pawns. b5, e5. We trade on f3, takes with king. Does h5 do anything? Doesn't seem like it. Maybe I can move back. But then still e5. Okay, let's move back with the rook. Rook doesn't belong on the king side anymore. Spent too much time there. Knight d4 is probably maybe coming. And I could trade like a4, a3. Actually, probably I won't trade. Down a minute on the clock. Hands are cold. It's cold outside. At least they're not sweating. a4, interesting. I probably just have to sit tight and wait. What else to do? Maybe throw in b6 at some point. h5 is a move to consider someday. f5. f5 could be interesting too, actually. Like some pawn sack. Knight e3. Play this. Just want to equalize on time. I might have some idea of playing f5 very soon, but it looks unnecessary, also risky. I put both rooks like on b6 and b4 and target b3. Might not be a bad idea. Put the other rook on d8. Maybe now, soon f5, but then he can take. Just have to kind of wait around. Okay, I'm up on time again, that's good. g5. So push, takes. Probably not good. No, g5 is a good move. e5, does that do anything? Probably not. I don't really want to take. I could play maybe h6. h6 is actually really interesting. Let's play h6. Not much time. Did I miss knight g4? Maybe I can take first and then play rook h8. Yeah, if he takes on h6, I take the knight and then play rook h8, so he doesn't have knight g4. He could play knight g4 right away. And then we trade on g5. He might have knight f6 at some point. Oh, what do I take first with? This is actually a problem. I could play f5 maybe. Oh, this is a big problem. So takes. I could sack. I think I'm going to sack. My bishop will control g1. And there's some compensation. I have a clump of pawns. Ah, but his h-pawn becomes passed. So maybe rook h8. Expecting knight takes h6. Oh, this isn't good. Okay, going for this line. What else to do? The h-pawn could just kill me. I mean, e5, f5 ideas. Let's bring my king. To be very careful with my king, though. Maybe e5 first. So, setting up the possibility of f5, because f5, e4 could be a very nice idea. Like or f5 now? f5 might play rook e1. So maybe here first, and then f5. Because then I have e4. How does he defend e4? Assuming he can't make progress with the pawn, I might have some chances here, but it's getting very messy. The problem is I'm down material, so he could sack back material, but there's hope, and he's thinking. Time is getting low. Rook d5, wow. So takes. Probably a good practical move. Have to go for this. Probably this to bring my king in. Problem is the bishop's going to land on e4. It's going to be very unpleasant. Or the king's going to land on e4. Maybe I could play this first. Preventing h7. If only my bishop could get to attack the pawn, like get to f8. So there's still some interesting ideas. Okay, f6 sacking the pawn. He gets the bishop to e4. Now I do have no, I don't have f3 right away. I have to be very careful with how I manage this. Play this first. I want to play f3, f2. He's going to play like rook h2 maybe. Could put the bishop on g3 if he lets me. Actually, not a bad idea. That's a good move. Let's play this. For g5, I have to king. Actually, no. It's bits, but I don't have time for bits. This is a very difficult position. I want to play f3 at some point. Maybe now? That's a problem though. I mean, it is opposite colored bishops. Maybe my king can get to h8. That's actually a very nice idea. Put the king on h8. There we go. I feel slightly safer. And I'm not out of the water yet. So this stuff. Maybe b6. He has rook c6 though. But then this move, I'm threatening rook f4. He might miss rook f4. Also threatening bishop c5, defending everything. Okay. I want to play e4. Time scramble. Should just, I mean, looks drawish, but I mean, white's slightly better. sacking the pawn. Looks very iffy. I mean, it's just torture at this point. Ah. Just trying to hold on. And playing on time, really. Oh, he's mating me. GG. That was rough. Well, the score is tied. 1.5 to 1.5. That's sad. But he played well. Well, rematch. Did that work? Hey, it worked. Oh no, I'm getting a call. Decline. Okay. Good luck. Am I playing another London? Also, did my camera die? What just happened there? I think my camera is just dead. Is the audio working? I hope the audio is working. Okay, give me one moment. FaceTime, okay. Ugh. Well, there goes my camera. Let's add a new video capture. My camera is literally not working. It was playing B6. It was B6. Wait, now I have to remember. Yeah, this game will be played without a camera because I don't know what's going on. B6. Is it 95 right away? Maybe 95 right away. Then like F4. Takes. This looks reasonable, I think. I apologize that there's no camera. I'm gonna remove this from OBS. Remove. Wow, so he's allowing this. Oh, he's gonna play 94 though. Okay, 94. I could have to focus first. What do? I could consider queen g4. Queen g4 is interesting. Knight takes d2, king takes d2. She looks very interesting. King's kind of in the center, but center is closed. I mean, queen g4, if he plays f5, I take it. Takes. Let's play queen g4. I'll try one more time with the camera, otherwise I'll try and figure it out between games. No, it's like, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of just dead. I mean, I could give myself like a picture or something, but you guys know what I look like, so it's fine. Okay, so I played queen g4, allowing this line with king takes d2. So I'm not castling at all this game, but the center is closed. I have some attack. I would draw stuff if I had arrows. I mean, the main plan, I think, is bishop f4, bishop h6, provoke g6, and then play h4, h5. He might throw in like f6 or f5. At some point I might play rook a f1 and then just run into the corner with my king. Yeah, this is reasonable for black. We're going to do some trading. So it's imbalanced. It's an interesting position. Big question if black actually wants to move the f-pawn, which he does. Now it's a question, do I take on passant? Probably not. Inclined to play rook a f1. Let's play rook a f1. I'm going to put my phone on do not disturb so I don't get any more calls. There might be some idea of g4. Like g4, we trade. And then like e6 is a target, g7 could be targeted. a5. So he wants to play bishop a6. So I should probably calculate g4, bishop a6, we trade. The rook lands on a6, I take on f5, he takes, rook, queen g4, takes. I mean, let's just do it. I don't see anything like glaringly wrong with it. I mean, he has g5 though, g5, then f5, or f4, but then I have h4 ideas. Okay, let's do it. So bishop a6. So the initial plan was to take, and queen g4. The rooks are a bit disconnected. This could be drawish. Let's go for this. Looks safe. Oh, he's queen g5 or rook g5 at some point. But that should be okay. If rook g5, I have queen takes e6. Talking about this position. If queen g5, I have to take. My rooks are better coordinated than his. And I'm threatening to take on f5, so black needs to defend somehow. Queen f8's playable. If he takes on f1, I'm very happy. Wait, takes on f1, I don't think I can take on e6 because rook f7. But maybe I can. Like, takes on f1, queen takes e6, rook f7, rook f1, queen f8, takes, queen c8, queen f8, takes. So he's going for this line. I have to take. Yeah, his rook's going to come back. I could start with rook f2. Start with maybe like a4. No, I should probably play rook f2. This should be very drawish. Thinking about like walking my... Whoa, that looks wrong. Because I get a defended passer. Maybe it's playable, but... Takes. He's going to play g6, so king. Could also maybe push immediately is interesting. I feel like I should take, provoke g6, play h4. Could also just play rook f1. Oh, let's take. e6. Now king e3 makes the most sense. Oh, I have ideas of c4. Like c4, sack a pawn, and then have two connected center pawns. That could be very interesting. Black has to be careful here. I should have considered c4 right away, actually. I can still consider c4. He might have king e6, though. My time may have passed. But then we trade. My rook activates. Probably behind. c4 takes d5. b5, king d4. That's gotta be fun. I don't know if it's good, but it looks fun. Let's do it. I'm sacking a pawn for 2 center pawns. Please work. I think he has to play... Okay, he has to play king e6. I'm expecting king e6. Another sub from Uncle Albrecht. Thanks for subbing. If you're just joining, I had issues with my webcam. Do I play maybe rook? Maybe rook here first. Looks a bit more flexible. Because, I mean, if he takes, I'm happy. I have ideas of c5. Still ideas of taking and activating the rook. The king's a blockader, but it's not a great blockader if I can check from behind. Data picks. There's no dark mode on chess24 as far as I know. I was trying to figure that out earlier, but had no success. Okay, I'm going to focus on the game, or at least try to. He's going to play rook d7. So what to do? Rook d7. I have to go for this. I have 2 passers, and he has the kingside majority. Maybe king d3, then f4. I could start maybe with like this, attack the pawn. And then if g6, I play rook f6. I'm kind of sneaking around, attacking b6. And black actually might get stuck at some point. Imagining g6, rook f6, b5, and then king d3. And it's a question how I make progress. I mean, what else is black thinking about? Maybe rook c7, but then I just take on f5. King c4 is a move. King c4 I probably just win. That move I forgot about. I have rook b6 though. Does this just win a pawn? How does he defend? I don't think b6 can be defended. If I win b6, then it's just happiness. It's weird because I didn't even consider king e6, but king e6 was probably not a move to play. Because now I can take up a pawn. g5, he has to go for something. I could force a trade, I could win another pawn. Let's check first. King c4 is likely. Okay, this I'm very happy. Now this should be a relatively easy win, assuming I don't mess up. Rook a6 coming. So the c4 move earlier really transformed the position nicely. Center pawns are surviving and thriving. Okay, so check. Probably just check. I mean, let's just check. I could trade and then play a4, a5. Just making sure the lines work. I mean, there's a few different ways to try and win this. but now this should just be winning. E4 takes, F4, king there. Wait a minute. There, takes there, and I have A5, key move. Okay. Just double checking. King pawn ending. My pawns are kind of separated. 3-on-1 on the king side. It's not enough for black. If F4, I'd probably play king E4. He plays H4. Let's probably play A5. It's important to have B4 at the right moment. Okay, probably king F4 now. Not falling into anything tricky, I hope. G3, I just take it. There, okay. Yeah, my king is close enough. It was an attempt to break through. Okay, I won a game. It's 2.5 to 1.5. I might restart the stream actually. Hey, give me one moment. Need to restart my stream. Okay, this will hopefully be very quick. I'm gonna like restart OBS, and then hopefully the webcam will be back. I'll see you guys in a few seconds.